in this spiritual living room, I like to call it, on Sunday mornings. So this is the final week in our book series, An Altar in the World by Barbara Brown Taylor. And of course, it is also Practitioner Sunday, which go together very well, and you will see that. This day is it's just such an honor to share with you the value and the tremendous contribution that our licensed practitioners make to this beloved community. Practitioner Allison talked a little bit about it earlier, but I just want to share with you, for those of you who may not know, all licensed CSL ministers must become practitioners first. I, first and foremost, consider myself to be a practitioner. So the practitioner ministry is dear, dear, dear to my personal heart. And to become a licensed professional practitioner, it normally takes between 2 to 3 years or so of the prerequisite courses that we offer here. And then they choose to move on to a 2-year professional training program. It's rigorous, and they pass several exams and panels. It's a comprehensive training program that is not for the faint of heart. Boy, it's a blessing to all of us. Practitioners are steeped in the art of affirmative prayer, which is the form of prayer that we do here, and they are considered the healing body of the church. And Allison provided so many of the wonderful things that they do here. There are so many things that they do, and we absolutely could not do that all we do, have all the programs that we have without them. So I would love for all of us to thank them for their service. So thank you. Thank you. Truly amazing humans, all of you. Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you. And practitioners Shelley Walker and Dana Montgomery have given me permission next week to step in, given me the honor to teach the Prac 1 students, which is so dear to me. I'm going to try to do that at least once a term, because it's important for me that I know our practitioners and that they know me. And what's really cool about this Sunday, the way that Spirit is just always connecting things, is that very much the journey of becoming a practitioner is connected to what Barbara Brown Taylor writes in her chapter, in chapter 11 of this glorious book, An Altar in the World, and that is the practice of being present to God. The practice of being present to God. Now, this is thousands of years old, this practice, and it was practiced throughout religious history. It's continued now. People across millennia have devoted much time and study to the art of being present with the ineffable, unnameable, divine presence through spiritual practice, through meditation and prayer, thousands of years of meditation and prayer and acts of service and charity and kindness, all of this calling humanity into a deeper connection with the divine. The Buddha said, we ourselves must walk the path, we ourselves. So whether you are a practitioner student or not, we ourselves must walk this path to have a deep connection with the divine. The great New Thought teacher and mystic, one of my favorites, Joel Goldsmith, said, God is not found in places, God is found in consciousness. So the goal then is to raise our consciousness. So I'd like you to think of consciousness like our vibration. It's the frequency of our life. It's the energy and awareness that we vibrate from. And we can always raise this vibration. We can always raise our level of connection to the divine. So how do we do that? Well, we teach here in New Thought that we do that through dedicated spiritual practice, meditation, prayer, spiritual study. And as we do this, our vibration and our consciousness grows. Ernest Holmes said, awareness is curative. And when we apply these universal wisdom teachings to our life, when we apply them, they make us more aware and more awake, as the Buddha called for us to be awake, to our life, which not only grows us, it grows our families, our friends. It has a ripple effect. You know, one of the ways that I personally have learned that raises my own vibration and my own consciousness is engaging with the practice of becoming fully present, being as fully present as possible with whoever is directly in front of me. Now, sometimes this is a lot of fun, and sometimes it's not. But that's just life. That's part of this human soup that we're all in. The thing is that it requires that we pay attention. You know, it's so easy these days to phone it in, literally the phone that is attached to our hip. We can phone it in. It's so much easier to send a text than to call. It's easier sometimes to send an email than to pick up the phone and call. However, when we get in the habit of looking up from our screens, and we get in the habit of paying attention to all of the God or the Spirit that is happening around us and through each other, our life, our whole life, can become an engaged, awakened, living prayer. Are you with me? So to me, this is the meaning of the passage from the Christian Bible, 1 Thessalonians, that says to pray without ceasing. This is that. In our teaching, we believe that meditation is listening to the divine, to God, to Spirit, and that prayer is the activity of communicating with God or Spirit. And of course, we also subscribe to the belief that Spirit, love, source, God, is at the very center of each one of us. Therefore, think about this for a moment. When you are caring for a child or an aging parent, it's a kind of prayer. When you pull over to the side of the road because you see a dog that seems lost, or when you are in the grocery store and the person in line, a few people in front of you, is a little short on cash, and someone just swiftly and gently offers to take care of it and pay the rest. That's prayer. That's a kind of living prayer. When you call that old friend who keeps popping up in your mind and you don't know why, but you just finally say, okay, and you call them, only to discover that it was a really good thing that you called them. That's a kind of prayer. When you get that gentle nudge to tip your food server a little more, you don't know why, but you just do it anyway. Or when you take your elderly neighbor's garbage to the curb, that's a kind of prayer, my friends. When you make coffee or toast in the morning for your person, oh, that's prayer for me. I love you, husband. Or when you start up a conversation, even though you may be a absolute total introvert at the post office, but the gentleman behind you seems a little sad, and you start talking with him only to discover that he has brought a care package for his son, and he's sending it to the Middle East because he's been in service for a long time over there. That's prayer. When you march, when you vote, that's prayer. Or when you agree to go with your friend to see her kiddo in a 6th grade, 4-hour-long production of Oklahoma. Oh God, that's prayer. That is prayer. Oh, Oklahoma, where the wind comes whistling down the road. It's prayer. It's prayer. Love you, darling. Brother David Steindl-Rast said, prayer is waking up to the presence of God, no matter where I am or what I am doing. That is a kind of prayer. Now, we also have a beautiful affirmative prayer that we're all going to get to experience later from our beloved practitioners. But what I want to express to you is we have prayer and prayers. We have a prayer life that is dedicated spiritual practice and prayer, and then we have our life in action, our prayer in action as who we are and how we show up. So we are in the middle of the high holy days in Judaism, and it is the 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, known as the days of awe, or the 10 days of repentance. And for our Jewish sisters and brothers, this is a dedicated time of introspection, of where they might have wronged someone or made an error in judgment. It's a time for them to get clear on this in their own life. And it's an opportunity for them during this sacred time to ask for forgiveness and seek reconciliation with those that they may have hurt. It's interesting to me because in Islam, the same practice is done during the month of Ramadan. This is a deep spiritual practice across many religious traditions. And over the years, I've facilitated a lot of different kinds of forgiveness workshops and classes and groups. And usually when we think of doing forgiveness work, it's more about sort of we think of who has wronged us and are we ready to forgive them? Anyone? Just me? No. Well, okay. However, this particular practice, this ancient practice of seeking forgiveness, it feels like prayer to me as well. Because whenever we can recognize our own human missteps and own them, wherever we can ask for forgiveness, we are much more free. We're connected to God in a way that is clear and clean and free and lighter. And we raise our vibration and we raise our consciousness in this spiritual practice, therefore contributing to the healing of humanity. Are you with me? All right. Plus, it just feels good, It just feels good. So in honor of this time of year, and this beautiful spiritual practice, I would like to invite all of us to just move into this experience together. So I invite you to just take a deep breath, close your eyes. Those of you online, I invite you to close your eyes right where you are as well. And just allow your breath to be easy and gentle. And I invite you just to do a quick inventory of your relationships. Personal relationships, romantic relationships, family relationships, work, spiritual community, any of your relationships, and just check in and just ask yourself, is there anyone that I've wronged or hurt in this past year? Just ask if there's anything that you want to clean up with anyone, where you would like to ask forgiveness. Just very gently take note of this. And as you do this, I invite you to allow your edges to soften and your heart to expand. Be gentle with yourself here, my friends. Just be gentle. You can lovingly, in this moment, make the commitment to yourself that you are going to reach out to this person. And if it's not possible for you to ask this person's forgiveness, maybe they've transitioned and are no longer on the earth plane, or maybe it's just not healthy to do, that's okay. Just take a breath and realize, because we are all connected on the seen and unseen sides of life, that you can ask for their forgiveness right in your heart, right now. And so if that's appropriate, I invite you to step into that. And just notice how this idea, just notice how this makes you feel in your body temple. Do you feel lighter, more free? Is there a little bit more joy that you can anticipate on the other side of this? Just allow it to be whatever it is. But in this moment, in this sacred place, I invite you to make a commitment to seek forgiveness wherever your soul is calling for it. This is love, and this is God in action within you. Another deep breath. I invite you to very gently return to the room when you're ready. Our lives can be a prayer. Whether we're just listening to someone in line somewhere, or we're jumping into action to help, or we're asking for forgiveness. This raises the vibration of all of humanity and helps heal the planet. In her final chapter, Barbara Brown Taylor talks about pronouncing blessings. Pronouncing blessings. She writes, "A blessing does not confer holiness. The holiness is already there. Yet," she writes, "there remain a great many people who excuse themselves when asked to pronounce a blessing. They're not qualified, they say. They say they're not good with words. They would rather jump off of a high diving board than try to say something holy in front of a bunch of other people." She continues, "If you are one of those people, all I can tell you is how much the world needs you to reconsider." You know, in addition to the day that I married my husband and the 4 days that we either gave birth or adopted our 4 daughters, the other day that was the most important day in my life, in addition to those things, was the day that I became a minister. It was in August of 2012. And it was such an honor for me to step into that experience. And as a minister, I was given like full permission to bless a lot. Right? I was blessing everything up and down. I mean, a lot of blessing happened up here, a lot. And blessing weddings and baby blessings and house blessings and pet blessings. Blessings, blessings, everywhere blessings. Bless you. God is calling, bless you. And I was just so loving my life, my gig where I got to bless things. And then on February 23rd, 2013, I was at a Centers for Spiritual Living convention in Vancouver, Canada. And at the time, I was teaching my beloved practitioner students. We had a beautiful year 1, and you practitioners know this, but I will share with all of you the relationship between the teacher and the practitioner student is very, very, very sacred because we go very deep in our spiritual work together. It's a very safe place. And I got a call while I was in Vancouver that one of my practitioner students had very unexpectedly died. She had made her transition. Many of you will remember Barb Cessna. Bless you. That was Barb. Hi, sweetie. So Barb Cessna had the best laugh in the whole world, and she was also our education registrar at the time. And it became very evident and very clear that it was my job to bless her on her way, that it was my job to do her celebration of life and her memorial, and I had not yet done one. And so to have my very first celebration of life be a practitioner student of mine was so hard. And I remember calling my mentor at the time and saying to her, I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. I cannot possibly do this. And she said to me, of course you can, I trained you. She's very sassy. And then she said to me something I've never forgotten. She said to me, Shannon, you can't do this wrong. Just show up and be present. You can't do this wrong. Just show up and be present. And to this day, I mean, I've done a lot of memorials, a lot of celebrations of life over the last 7 years. And my beloved Barb Cessna is always with me. I have a picture of her in my office. I took it with me to Mile High. It was in my office there. And she reminds me that what is important is to be present, to show up. That just being a human being on the planet is enough. You know, I was in an airport recently. I find myself in airports a lot lately because on my days off, often I will fly to Burbank. It's an hour-and-a-half shuttle, and I'll go there and visit family. And there's a lot of life that happens at airports. And I was there recently, and this older gentleman sneezed. And like 10 of us were like, bless you, God bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you. And I realized it's because it's like this publicly sanctioned thing to get to bless people out loud when they sneeze. God bless you. Do you see? It's like we have permission to bless them when they sneeze. Have you ever thought about that? And yet, so many of us, like me in that time period with Barb Cessna, felt like I wasn't qualified to bless her on her way. Oh my word, every one of us is so more than qualified to bless each other, to be a blessing for each other, but to bless each other in whatever way feels good for you. Walt Whitman said, "The sidewalks are littered with postcards from God." Isn't that great? And so we can silently bless people. We can do it out loud too, here and other places. But we can silently bless people all of the time. Barbara Brown Taylor says, pronounce a silent blessing and pay attention to what happens in the air between you and that other person and all those people. So in this moment right now, just with your eyes open, I invite you to take a breath and just silently bless every being that is here. Just bless them. Just bless. To your left, to your right, in front of you, behind you, bless. 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 Take a deep breath. Did you feel that? So I invite you to do that more. I invite you to do that more. Recognize this week, in any given moment, that your entire life is a prayer. And I invite you to be present to it, to recognize the postcards from God that show up everywhere. I invite you to look within even more where you can ask forgiveness of someone that you have inadvertently wronged, because we're all human. God bless you. Can we all say, God bless you? Bless you, Barbara Buckingham Hayes. Oh. So just notice where you can ask for forgiveness. And I invite you to step into that, the power of that. And always, 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 always remember that you have full permission to bless others out loud or silently in whatever way you feel comfortable, knowing it helps heal the planet. Thank you. Thank you. Love and blessings. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. I love you.